it's weird because certainly before taking them, there was much more sort of extreme. This was a return to that kind of extreme explosiveness of emotions that I couldn't control. And I don't know why that was. I think it may have been the nature of that relationship, that it was all the passions, including, you know, the negative and angry ones at times. And I've noticed since, as I will come up at some point, I'm not taking any anymore because I needed to stop to drink ayahuasca. I noticed, and I notice more, the difficulty of the return of the overwhelming, like a big tide of emotions that I can just feel panicked and fearful, and I want to escape. And that kind of power leaves me literally sitting in a chair like this going, I don't know how to deal with this, I need to turn everything off, I need to escape. And that can be, usually, you know, it would be, I'm leaving this situation, I'm walking out the door, I need to be on my own, I need to decompress, and that can be fine. But usually, you know, it's a social situation, so it's difficult to get out, and maybe if anyone asks, it's going to be, I just can't even deal with this. And it becomes drama, it's exacerbated because you become a person that you don't want to be. You become this source of drama and tension, and all you really want to do is just try and make like two often conflicting things at the same time. You just want to get away, but you also just wish that someone would see the pain that you're in and come over and look after you and take away the panic. And when it came to this suicide attempt, it was just at a certain point, I don't remember exactly when it was because this was, you know, built up over an hour or so. A certain point where I just went, gone, I don't care anymore, all bets are off, let's just go crazy. Just where I stopped trying to control it, and this whole series of powerful and obviously negative, destructive emotions just came out where I think we've all been there where maybe even just for a short time you just lose it in an argument and you just scream. But this was prolonged and worse than just screaming. But it was, you know, the top of the bottle has flown off, and you don't know how do you get all of that back in again.
It's almost like built-in pressure for a long time, and when it comes out, it's like crazy. Well, not crazy, but like very intense actually, because it was so concentrated somehow.
I don't think the antidepressants sort of put the lid on exactly, but like I said before, it largely just let me avoid the extremes. But no, in this situation, and I don't know for what specific reason, that wasn't enough. And a very large percentage of the efficacy of SSRIs is placebo anyway. They do have measurable effects, but it's not enough really to say, yes, it's guaranteed to do this or this. And so that's why if you came to me as a patient, I'm a doctor, and I give you like, oh, here's some antidepressants, probably within 1 or 2 days, you're going to feel better. But actually they couldn't be having any effect on you by that time because they're usually cumulative. But you feel better. And the same way, if I was having a particularly panicked, intense day, I go, oh, I'll just have like a little bit extra, like 10 milligrams extra. Oh, thank God for that, you know, almost immediately. It's weird, the placebo effect, because it's real, but it's not chemically real, or it's not the chemical input that's guaranteeing it, it's something else.
Yourself somehow, figure out a way with that trigger to make you feel better. So then, once that happened twice, how did you start trying to find a solution?
Well, I had. Did I even try to find a solution? I walked away from that relationship. And when I say walked away, I meant remained deeply entangled for ages, trying to extricate myself and wondering if it was the right thing to do. And it's so complex, or was so complex, that we're more than a year on, I'm still thinking about it, and
because he's the one that saved your life too, right?
He did.
So that's a lot. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, even if that hadn't happened, there was a lot of that kind of deep connection. I thought that sort of thing only happened in storybooks and films and so on.
Yeah, inspired by real life.
Yeah, apparently so. Sort of great to discover and awful in some ways too. I was so wrecked by that experience of the breakup, not the suicide attempt, that I felt as though I didn't know who I was anymore. And I felt like, okay, so who am I? I'm staying in a friend's spare room, and I don't see much meaning in anything that I'm doing right now. What do I do? What's the point of anything much? And I ate a lot of cookies and, tried to find some solace in that. And then a friend of mine, my best friend, called Joe, we went for a walk and we're sitting on a park bench, and he said, you should listen to some podcasts. And I'm like, what the fucking podcast? Sounds stupid. And then he said, no, listen to these two. And the first one, it still shows in sequence on my phone. The first one was London Real. Nice. And the second was Joe Rogan Experience. Nice. And I started listening to London Real. And at the broadest level, what happened by listening to those and more podcasts was there is a world out there. It's not all over, because there's so many people doing interesting things who are living lives that interest me, that give me a sense that there's still a realm of possibility out there. And I think maybe that's why podcasts are so important to the people who listen to them. You don't tend to be just a casual listener unless you just subscribe to existing medias, the big media's little spin-off podcasts. But the proper podcasts, as I think of them, the long-form interview conversations, things like that, you get passionate because it becomes a real source of input and interest and excitement and knowledge and so on. And it just started putting the colour back in my life. And then within that, I started hearing about ayahuasca, and I think the first time that I heard about it was on London Real, and I listened to their experiences. So the one that really hit me was called the Heart of Darkness episode, where Nick Gabriel came back from his, I think it was in Peru, his experience. He described this incredible series of ceremonies that he'd had. And even now, I don't know exactly what it is that draws me to it, but I was just completely fascinated. And I have no history, background of taking anything, really. I think a lot of the school propaganda that we got really worked for me. Drugs are bad. Yeah. Drugs are so bad. I'm like, oh, exactly. I'm like, no, I'm not doing drugs. And friends, if there was some weed going around, whenever I tried it, I just felt kind of sick. And so I hadn't got any positive experience attached to it either. So this was all new, and I thought, okay, well, this sounds like much more interesting. This sounds like not getting high, this sounds complex. And then as I learned more, I began to have this sense of certainty of this could really help me, because the block had remained and remains in various ways. I can think about, I feel like this is a problem, this is a problem. Okay, I could solve this intellectually, but it doesn't solve it. I just go, yeah, but I don't feel that way. Whereas something like ayahuasca goes, now we're going to understand it emotionally. Now we're going to put you in a place where it's not just hypothetical, it's real. That's what this kind of sense of being drawn to it, people call a calling.
Yes.
And that, I didn't like that term at first, and I've only been okay with it since I went and I had the experience, because I began to understand that it's not about, there's no voice in my head going, you must come and drink ayahuasca, there's another ayahuasca calling, book your tickets and come to me. It's more just that when you learn about it and you hear about it, you go, yeah, I think I should do that, or even I need to do that. For me, it just became, I need to do this. Whereas friends who hear about it, and probably most people who hear about it just go, maybe they go, that's interesting, but I would never do it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. The calling was just, oh yeah, I'm drawn to this. It's almost like discovering a passion or something, or an interest.
Yes.